Hey, gang. Hello, hello, hello on this Monday. Woo, how sticky is it already outside? Holy smokes. And I'm in a t shirt. Monday poll question. Monday poll question. The Monday poll question at Smerconish.com. Did the U.S. strike on Iran make it more or less likely that Iran will ultimately have nuclear weapons? Michael, what are you talking about? We just bombarded 3 nuclear facilities. Of course, it's going to make it less likely. Hang on, there's more to it. First, thank you to my friends at Parks Casino and Play Gun Lake. It is so damn humid. So humid. Get inside at Parks Casino if you're in the Northeast. I have to say, for me, last night, a great respite in a really busy news weekend and a lot of heavy, heavy news was to watch how do I say this now without getting in trouble? The big hoops finale. And even though in the end, and thank you, Oklahoma, because I covered, thank you, Parks Casino, thank you, Play Gun Lake. Even though in the end the score was not as close as the game would have suggested, it was just unbelievable action, unbelievable energy, and no disrespect to Indy, but I feel good for Oklahoma. Come on, they've never had that taste before. Summertime, the beach, the boat, the lake, the boardwalk. Enjoy casino action and sports betting wherever you are all summer long with the BetParks app and the Play Gun Lake app. Baseball, tennis, world soccer matches, the pro golf tour. It's all going on. Live betting is better on the BetParks app and the Play Gun Lake apps. Bet individual player performance and game props as well. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, I'm looking at you, Indy. There's always a way for you to get in on the action and make yourself a winner. So check it all out. Brand new games, by the way, like Huff and More Puff, Fire Blaze, Sky Queen, a BetParks exclusive. BetParks, Blackjack, Baccarat, hot online slots like Cash Eruption and Cleopatra, all the fun stuff. The sports, the gaming, whatever you're looking for, the slots. Go to betparks.com or playgunlake.com. Download the app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You've got to be 21. And in PA, or Maryland for BetParks, 21. And in Michigan for Play Gun Lake. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParks and Play Gun Lake. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So thank you for the workshop that we had together on Friday when I was on POTUS, and I said this obviously was pre-strike against Iran. This is when people were thinking, well, President Trump put 2 weeks on the board, even though my conscience is clear because I remember when reporting what he said, I noted that others were acting as if there were going to be a 2-week break in the action. And I said, that's not what I heard from Carolyn Levitt. Within 2 weeks, she said something's going to happen. But we were together on Friday, and I was talking about a commentary that I was seeking to deliver on CNN on Saturday, which I did. A commentary in which I said, if Iran is truly on the brink of having a nuclear weapon, and if diplomacy is at an end, then I'm okay with it. However, I don't think we're there, is what I said, because the evidence in the public domain was so damn muddled. And you have the DNI Tulsi Gabbard at odds with the administration. Although in the over the weekend, she tried to get in line with the administration. I also said that Prime Minister Netanyahu has been saying literally for 30 years what he's been saying now. And as between Trump and Netanyahu, I personally don't feel comfortable with the stakes so high taking either of their word for it. So the gist of my commentary was to say, show us the evidence. And secondarily, the point that I was making is that members of Congress are cowards. Like now, a number of them are chirping, right, about, oh, we weren't in the loop, we weren't consulted. Where were they last week? Why weren't they demanding that there be a War Powers Act resolution vote on the matter? Those were all the things that I said. So I got it all off my chest on Saturday, and then, of course, came the events of Saturday night. I'm particularly proud of yesterday's poll question, not the result. The result doesn't matter to me, but but the simplicity of it and yet the genius of it. The poll question yesterday was, does this end well? Does this end well? We had 39,751 votes cast, and 79.56% said no, it does not. 80-20 saying it doesn't end well. I hope that's the incorrect answer. I hope that history proves that to be incorrect. So, poll question today on this Monday, did the U.S. strike on Iran make it more or less likely that Iran will ultimately have nuclear weapons? I am mindful of the fact that David Sanger, who was a great guest of mine on CNN over the weekend, wrote a column yesterday in the New York Times. It'll probably be in today's print edition, speaking to the nature of the gamble that President Trump has just taken. Quote, he is betting that he has destroyed Iran's chances of ever reconstituting its nuclear program. That's an ambitious goal, writes Sanger. Iran has made clear that if attacked, it would exit the nuclear proliferation treaty and take its vast program underground. That's what I'm getting to with the poll question. Did the United States just assure that what's really going to take place now is that Iran will no longer participate in the world community? They will pursue a nuke, and we won't have the knowledge of it that we otherwise would have if they were within the system. That's the question that I'm asking today at Smerconish.com. Further along in the Sanger piece, Iran could slowly recover. Its surviving nuclear scientists could take their skills underground, and the country would follow the pathway lit by North Korea with a race to build the bomb. Today, North Korea has 60 or more nuclear weapons by some intelligence estimate, an arsenal that probably makes it too powerful to attack. So that's where I'm headed with the poll question today. In seeking to debilitate Iran and to relieve the prospect of a nuclear armed Iran, have we instead just assured that they'll go in a different direction? And by the way, the Washington Post editorial I found very interesting. The Post bombing editorial from the Post, they were never on board with what Trump was seeking to do. But they wrote the following: now that Trump has decided to risk entering the conflict because only the United States has the bunker buster bombs best suited to destroying Iranian nuclear facilities, says the Washington Post editorial page, he should ensure that Iran's nuclear program is demolished, as he appeared to claim it was on Sunday. That would mean the destruction of the targeted sites plus any residual weapons building capacity. Then he should strike a deal with Tehran designed to ensure the Iranians end their nuclear program for good. But relevant to my poll question today, the Post then says this will be tricky. Following these strikes, the Iranian government will be tempted to pursue the security that possession of nuclear weapons provides a regime, and to do so even more secretly than it had before. Do you remember the guy named Khan, Khan? Khan. He was a scientist from Pakistan. I need to go back and refresh my recollection about this and make sure that I'm 100% comfortable in what I'm telling you. But I'm 93 or 4% comfortable in telling you what I'm telling you. And that is that they had this scientist in Pakistan, and he had a network, the Khan network. What just put this in my head was speaking of North Korea, because it was North Korea, it was Iran, and I think it was Libya as well, that were all nations that benefited from this guy giving them access to nuclear technology. So what I'm trying to get at is, and I want Iran to be rid of a nuclear capability. Okay, I share the objective of President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. As is often the case, I'm just questioning the methodology, because Netanyahu's been saying this forever, and I get it. He only has to be right once, and Trump can't be trusted because it looked like he was. I don't think that. You know what I think? I think that there was a ruse. The ruse is that some of those B-2s took off from Missouri. And by the way, how amazing is that they carried out like a 38-hour operation? The real ruse was that some of those bombers took off from Missouri and headed west. That was the distraction. That was the ruse. And the others pursued their mission, headed to the east directly to Iran. The ruse was not President Trump admonishing Netanyahu not to do it, as he did the Monday before the Thursday attack, as he did the Thursday of the Thursday attack, as Marco Rubio made clear in his statement the night of the attack. I believe that's really where the United States head were, that we wanted to pursue another meeting in Oman that was scheduled for Sunday. And then what happened is that Israel went without us, and the initial reports looked really promising of the Israeli strike against Iran and the Mossad being able to fly drones from within Iran. And President Trump, and this is the New York Times reporting on this, President Trump then wakes up on Friday morning, picks up the clicker and tunes in, into Fox News and sees that it's going swimmingly well, and he wants to own it. And as I said in my commentary, the pronouns now changed and it became we. And so consequently, we now owned this whole process. I don't think that's the way it began, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think that's the way it began. And I would like to have seen us truly go to the nth degree on diplomacy instead of kind of being backed into a wall by Israel, which is the way that I think this whole thing unfolded. Okay, we did it. Now I want it to be successful. And what I'm asking in the poll question today is, have we instead created a situation where Iran goes looking for the next, Dr. Khan, the Pakistani guy who will deal them nukes and spare this whole process? Just go buy a nuclear weapon. Did the U.S. strike on Iran make it more or less likely that Iran will ultimately have nuclear weapons? I mean, the obvious answer is to say it makes it less likely, because we just took out, we hope, 3 of their facilities, including Fordo. And the final thing that I'll say for now is that Lieutenant General David Deptula, who has played a very senior role for the Air Force, will be on today's radio program in follow-up to the conversation that I had with him on CNN on Saturday. He's a really impressive guy. And I'm so eager to have him on radio, with more time being afforded than a 4-minute segment that I get on CNN, just to go through the brilliance. Forget for a moment what you might think of President Trump or Prime Minister Netanyahu, or maybe you're praising of them. I'm just saying, put that aside. And let's just think for a moment how remarkable a feat it was to take off in multiple B-2s that had to be supported with fighter jets that had to be refueled midstream, and to leave Missouri and go, 7,000 miles and hit a football field and not take any fire, to be able to do it with stealth. I mean, amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I have to believe that there is some deterrence value in the way the United States just pulled off that mission. Like, if you're China, if you're Russia, you got to be impressed, right? With seemingly pinpoint accuracy. That's amazing. And that's not to be undervalued. Okay. If you're in the Northeast, frankly, if you're on the whole Eastern, you know what? It's 170 million Americans. So I guess I'll say it this way. Wherever you are, try and stay cool today. Protect the elderly, protect babies, protect the dogs, right? All of a sudden just popped into my head. They're eating cats and dogs. That didn't really happen, did it? That did not happen. No, I mean that he said that. Oh my God. Stay cool today. Stay cool today. Because I got to tell you, I was outside in the Northeast very early, and it was already so hot and so sticky. So fingers crossed that people stay cool and we get through this weather. And by the way, it's only June. Wow. Did the U.S. strike on Iran make it more or less likely that Iran will ultimately have nuclear weapons? Go vote at Smerconish.com. Like and subscribe and set yourself up for notifications. Like and subscribe and set yourself up for notifications. Thank you, gang.